Hey guys, Chop It On here, and we've got a good question today from Bill talking about bankroll, talking about going pro, talking about supplemental income, whatever your goal is. But that kind of is the topic today, and this can go on for multiple days if we need to. But this is exciting for me because this gets us back to the early days of DFS Army and the real coaching that we used to do. It's one thing to show you picks and plays and stuff. It's another to talk about the real stuff that really makes you a good player. And of course, contest selection, bankroll management really do matter. Establishing a budget, a playing budget daily and long term for yourself, maybe how you would break it across different sports, different contests, that stuff all matters. And that's a lot of what we do, obviously, inside DFS Army, or it's what we used to do. We need to get back to it. And I think this is a great channel and a great opportunity to dive back in. So I'll just use this example in terms of a $2,000 bankroll. What contests, what sports, whatever. The first question you have to ask yourself, in my opinion, is what sports are you profitable in, or do you even know? I don't think that a lot of people even know. I don't even know if I know which sports I'm profitable in and which ones I'm not. To what degree, I know I can beat baseball. I know I can beat hockey. I know I can beat football. I struggle with other sports here and there. I'm not profitable at all of them, and I'm certainly varying degrees of profitable across them all. If I'm really serious and trying to build a bankroll that I can eventually make a living or good side income from this thing, I'm maniacal about tracking my results, building a sample size, and trying to figure out where my games are best. Are they best in cash games? Are they best in tournaments? Are they best in small tournaments? Are they best in big tournaments? What about league play? What about head to heads? What about golf? What about football? What about baseball? What about soccer? What about all these other things? And if I'm adventuring into a sport that I don't have a track record in, I'm not playing it very heavy. I'm not playing it with 10% of my bankroll. I'm not going to put $200 a day in soccer. I would dabble a little bit and see if I can't build a sample size that I have some confidence in. Sleeping with one eye open, realizing that I'm still probably on a small sample size and I need to uh, be careful that maybe I'm not just running good. Hopefully, this is sustainable. Hopefully, this is kind of in line with what I expect my true win rate to be. And I would not play sports I'm not profitable in because the object is making money. If I've proven over time I'm not profitable in a sport, I'm not playing it anymore. I'm not interested in trying to learn to be profitable. I'm just not. So I move on. I focus on my strengths. My strength could be a cash game, it could be a tournament, it could be NASCAR, whatever. But I focus on my strengths, and that's where I invest most of my money because it's where I'm the most successful. So when we're looking for things like we have to establish that track record, we have to know kind of within a reasonable confidence that we can beat the game. And then we determine inside that what contests we're looking for, which was asked again by Bill. Diversification helps overcome variance. That's very true. So playing a few sports will help, but playing within those sports, playing some cash games and some tournaments and some different types of tournaments will help, as will playing multiple lineups. Maybe instead of building one lineup, like in cash games, we probably would just stick with one lineup and just do it that way for cash games. But when we start doing tournaments, if I'm playing a 3 max, a 20 max, and stuff like that, I'm going to be building a lot of different lineups because I don't know which lineups are going to connect. And the slate usually has a lot of viable options on it in any sport. And I want to diversify. That gives me better chances of really hitting a home run. It also gives me a really good chance at avoiding the total crusher of every lineup misses. If I make my lineups too close together, too much, say, lineup overlap, player overlap within those lineups, then they're going to kind of have a good day or a bad day together. And I don't mind that on my good days, but I really hate it on my bad days. Now, on your good days, if you have more good days than bad days, it can be the way to go. But again, that's up to you to determine over time with experimentation and with trying to figure out which way do I play best. Do I play best with just a few lineups, or do I play best with a lot of different lineups? I personally have gone back and forth on that approach myself multiple times, and I don't have a real definitive answer even for myself. But again, if I was looking to be a very serious supplemental income or live on this professionally type of player, I need to know that and I need to focus on that. So diversification is a topic where spreading out, not putting all of your eggs in one basket, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, really does help your floor because it avoids the total wipeouts, but it also kind of caps your ceiling. You're not going to have the truly awesome day. And that's, again, fine because you're looking to grind, you're looking to decrease variance and volatility as much as you can. You're taking that stability over your ceiling in that case. And it's a good thing. Sorry about that awkward pause. I had to sneeze. I didn't think you'd want that in the microphone. Anyway, my point is, what would I do on some of these contests? What types of contests would I look for on a $2,000 bankroll, which is roughly, $200 a day? $200 a day. I guess you could treat each sport or each slate independently. If I played 200 in NBA and 200 in MLB and 200 on the night slate or whatever, you can do it that way. I don't. I would just call it 200 a day, and I would just try to, if my ROI is say 10%, I'm just trying to make over all of it $20 a day, and I'm trying to pick and choose. If I played 3 sports, I might put 50 on this sport, 100 on this sport, and 50 on that sport. If I played 3 different slates, I might do the same thing, 50 and then 50 on the next one and then 100 on the last one, or whatever, wherever I felt the edge was or wherever I felt like playing. And that's really all I'm trying to do, whether I play multiple sites, multiple slates. I mean, DraftKings, FanDuel, everything. 200 a day is what I'm doing on a $2,000 bankroll. How much would I put into cash games? That differs. Back 5-10 years ago, we would have said to put a ton of it in cash games. Nowadays, cash games are tougher, especially in NBA. And I don't know that you should be putting a ton of your bankroll in those cash games. I think that we've reached a point where perhaps tournaments provide more bang for your buck. I know you can play cash games like the nickel and the quarter, or tournaments like the nickel and the quarter. You can play them like a cash game. If you built one cash safe lineup and you weren't really trying to win the tournament, which sounds stupid on the face of it because you should always be going for the win in a tournament. But if you felt like I just need to get into the cut line and I put in 100 lineups in the nickel and they're all the same lineup, my cash lineup, all 100 of them are the same, and I cash, I double up. If I do a little bit better, maybe I triple or quadruple up. I'm not really trying to win the thing unless I get really, really lucky, which can happen. But I'm more just trying to hit what is actually a lower cut line in a lot of cases. In NBA, if your cut line is, say, 320, in a cash game, it might be, 300 in the nickel MME. So I would be in that as my cash game because it's easier to double up in that contest than it is a true 50-50 or cash game, if that makes sense. That's a part of the research that you've got to do. So I don't know how I would break that up, whether it would be 80% of my money in cash and 20% in tournaments or what. I'm just going to go looking through the contests, and I'm just going to say what I would be focused on a little bit smaller bankroll. Now, $200 a day, I mean, if you wanted to play a $35 tournament, you certainly could. It's in there. It's a definite possibility. So let's take that possibility and let's go through. For $200 a day, if you wanted to play in a $35 tournament, you certainly can. Structuring it gets different these days. I really haven't focused on this in a long time, but I do want to at least look at some of the contests in the NBA FanDuel side of things, and let's kind of walk through them and talk. If I sort by entry fee, now the lower skill levels of the players, the opponents, your competition is going to be in the cheaper tournaments. So as a general rule, you would want to enter these and then kind of climb your way up. But I mean, would I max out the nickel? Probably. Max out the quarter? I don't know. That's $35 of my 200. $750 of my 200 is nothing. And $750 of my 200 to basically win $250, $750 into $250 is a pretty good deal. Same deal in the quarter, which of course is fewer opponents, which means you could win this a little bit more often than you probably win the nickel. But that said, I'm not probably going to spend 35 to 45 of my 200. I might, I don't know. We need to kind of walk and talk as we go. Single entry, yeah, I would play that. $1 into what amounts to $150. That's a good 150x return. That's pretty good. another dollar into the 3-entry max, I would probably make 3 different lineups and enter in this. One thing you can do, $75 here on a smaller contest. Instead of 3,500 people, it's 1,700 people. One of the things that you can do, honestly, is let's say we put 150 in the nickel, 50 in the quarter, and then a dollar here, and 1, 2, 3 more dollars here. Now we're looking at what? 150 and 50 is 200, 254 lineups. You can make the optimizer do 254 lineups. You know what I mean? And then just enter them in randomly. You can also, if 250, if you start building your lineups and you realize the more lineups you build, kind of at the tail end, the more they really drop off and get speculative and become kind of like dead money, you can arrange those to where some of your best lineups are in the bigger dollar stuff, and some of your less optimal lineups that the optimizer is kind of filling out your builds with, put them in the nickel, because that's where they can really win and do the damage. Even though they're dead money, at least they're dead for a nickel. And if they do really well randomly, then you can turn that into some big money. That would be a smart way to go. Or you could build just say 20 or 25 lineups and then enter that across 250 reserved spots. You just repeat that block of 20 lineups 7 times. Boom, 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 boom. You could do that. There's just so many different ways to go when it comes to this sport. And which one is more ideal than the other, I don't have the answer to that question. Small SWAT, sure, I'd probably play that. These under a couple of hundred, under say 500 to 1,000 player contests are probably your bread and butter. These are probably where you can really make some hay. Are you going to turn $1,000 into $10,000? No. But you're going to turn it into $25. You're going to turn it in a lot easier. It's going to take a lot lower score that can win this competition than can win this one, and then can certainly win the nickel. So you're going to produce those lower scores more often. So you want to put them in contests that they can actually win, right? I wouldn't probably be playing satellites. You can, but that's a different strategy altogether. $2 single entry, sure. If my budget is not filled yet and I've worked my way down to here and I've filled in some of these dollar entry stuff, sure, I might start doing the $2. Again, I'm not doing the tickets. I'm looking for just cash, and that's a lot of tickets. But now here's a 222. Might enter that 25 times. That's 25 times, $2, 50, 55, $60 into 1,000. It's a good return. And you're only beating 10,000 people or 5,000 people. It's not going to be, you're going to do that more frequently than you're going to win the nickel. Same thing here, 20 entry here. Now you're probably really chewing up, your budget. But when you do get down this way, now you're going to start getting out of the $3 and $4 and $5 range, and you're going to start getting into where the pros are hanging out in the $5 and above numbers. That's just where you're going to start finding them. $5 single entry, they will be in here. This contest is going to get significantly tougher. Now, it still has casual recreational players in there that can't play for $1 because it just doesn't give them the itch that they need to scratch. So they have to put more money on the line. They'll put $5, $10, $20, $25, whatever. But some of the contests, that play, now I'm not going to probably multi-entry $9 at a time. I'd probably take that remaining $50 and instead of just dumping it all in here, I would probably play some more single entry type of stuff. Again, not satellites, but a $10 single entry for 350 is more attractive to me than a $9 mass multi-entry. Does that make sense? That's probably where I'm trying to go. I would get down here even more. The bigger it gets, $12 single entry, the smaller the field is going to get. So I don't mind, if I've got the budget for it, I don't mind throwing, the single bullets. $25 single entry, 658, that's pretty big. But where is our bigger? If you could do the 50 for $90, you can win, or for 90 people, 90 players, you can win this, right? You're good enough. You can take $50, 20 exit, turn it into $1,000. That's within your budget. If it's within that bankroll, it's within your budget, and you can play a contest like this, and you're going to win this contest honestly more often than you're going to win the nickel, or more often than the $3,500 single entry. We should be playing these contests. We should be striving to build the budget, build the bankroll, and get to where we can play these contests, because you're going to win these more often. I hope that helps understand a little bit of what we might be looking for. If you guys have questions, fire them at me. We'll keep going back and forth and answering these things until we're comfortable with it. And hopefully we can turn you guys into more serious and better players winning even more money than you ever thought possible. That's the goal here. Peace out. We'll see you on the other side.